It was a normal day in the park when Mr. Williams sat down on a nearby bench to rest. A rich man with his 2 kids approached him and asked for money, claiming that he needed it to save his sick son. However, the billionaire just laughed at him and continued walking away. But what happens next is genius. Hi everyone. Welcome back to our channel where we share with you the most amazing stories from around the world. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future uploads. The stories we share may or may not be true, but they are always interesting and entertaining. So let's begin. Once upon a time in a distant country, there was a poor man who lived on the streets and survived by asking for money from passers-by. He had a young son named Billy who suffered from a rare disease, which left him paralyzed from the waist down. Despite the boy's disability, he remained cheerful and optimistic, never losing hope that one day he would walk again. One day, the boy's father heard about a billionaire in the city who was known for his generosity, and decided to take his son to the billionaire's house and ask for help. When they arrived at the billionaire's mansion, the poor man knocked on the door and explained their situation. The billionaire's wife answered the door, and after listening to their story, told them that her husband was currently busy, but that they could wait in the garden until he was free. While waiting, the boy sat down on a nearby bench and started playing with some pebbles. Suddenly, a group of children approached him and started throwing stones at him, taunting him for being disabled and telling him that he would never walk again. The poor man was furious and demanded that the children stop, but they wouldn't listen. Just then, the billionaire came out of the house and saw the whole scene. He immediately stopped the children and apologized to the boy and his father. Then he took them inside the house and offered them food and drinks. The boy's father couldn't believe his luck. He thought that finally someone was going to help his son. However, the billionaire just gave them money for food and sent them away, without offering any help or treatment for the boy. The poor man and his son were devastated, but they had to leave. As they were leaving, the boy's father looked at the billionaire and said, "You may be rich, but God will punish you for what you have done." The billionaire just laughed and waved him off. The poor man and his son went back to their miserable life on the streets, still hoping that one day something would change. Meanwhile, the billionaire continued his life of luxury and wealth, never thinking about the poor beggar boy again. Years passed and the boy grew up, but he never gave up hope of walking again. He exercised every day, even though it was extremely difficult for him, and he refused to let his disability define him. One day, the boy and his father were sitting on a bench in the same park where the incident with the billionaire and his son had happened years ago. The boy was sharing his dream of one day participating in the Paralympic Games and winning a gold medal. Suddenly, a familiar group of children approached them and started mocking the boy for his dream. They said that it was impossible for him to ever walk, let alone participate in the Paralympic Games. The boy was heartbroken, but before he could respond, a voice boomed, "Leave him alone, you filthy animals." The children turned around and saw a tall, muscular man with a determined expression. It was the beggar boy, now all grown up and stronger than ever before. The man walked up to the children and said, "I was once the beggar boy you mocked, and if it wasn't for your bullying, I wouldn't have been able to achieve my dreams." The children were shocked and scared and quickly ran away. The grown-up beggar boy turned around and saw an elderly couple looking at him with admiration. He recognized them as the billionaire and his wife. He smiled and said, "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Williams." The billionaire was shocked and couldn't believe that the beggar boy was actually his son. All those years ago, he had no idea that the boy was alive and well. He rushed over to the boy and hugged him tightly, apologizing for not helping him all those years ago. The billionaire's wife was also very apologetic and told the boy that she wished she had known about him sooner and that she would have taken care of him like her own son. The boy forgave them and told them that he didn't hold any grudges. He explained that he had overcome many obstacles and hardships in his life, but that he never gave up on his dreams. The billionaire was deeply moved by his son's strength and determination. He promised to do everything in his power to make up for the lost time and to help him achieve his goals. The billionaire took his son and his father aside and wrote them a check for a huge amount of money, enough to pay for the boy's treatment and rehabilitation. He also promised to build them a new house and to provide them with everything they needed. The beggar boy's father was overwhelmed with gratitude and thanked the billionaire for his generosity. He knew that his son was in good hands now and that he would never have to worry about money or resources again. The beggar boy was very grateful for his father's love and support.
Oh.
He knew that if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have been able to make it this far in life. Together, they embraced each other tightly, feeling blessed to have each other in their lives. After saying goodbye to his father, the beggar boy turned to the billionaire and his wife and thanked them for their kindness and support. He told them that he would never forget what they had done for him, and that he would use the money to make his dream of participating in the Paralympic Games a reality. The billionaire and his wife were proud of their son and felt that he was the real hero of the story. They watched as he walked away, determined and focused, knowing that he would make them all proud. As the sun set, the billionaire and his wife returned to their mansion, reflecting on the events of the day. They realized that they had been wrong to ignore the beggar boy all those years ago, that they should have helped him in any way they could. They made a promise to each other to never forget what had happened and to always be more compassionate towards those in need. Meanwhile, the beggar boy and his father moved into their new house, which the billionaire had built for them. It was a beautiful and spacious home that provided them with all the comfort and accessibility they needed. The beggar boy's father could unbelieve how lucky they were to have found such a generous benefactor. With the financial support of the billionaire, the beggar boy began his treatment and rehabilitation. He worked hard to regain his mobility and strength, and he never lost sight of his goal of participating in the Paralympic Games. Every day he practiced walking, running, and jumping, determined to succeed. The billionaire kept in touch with his son and was amazed by his progress. He could see the dedication and perseverance in his son's eyes, and he knew that he would make it to the games. Years went by, and the beggar boy became a star athlete. He won numerous medals and trophies for his outstanding achievements. He'd become an inspiration to people all over the country, proving that anything is possible if you set your mind to it. One day, the beggar boy received a call from the National Paralympic team. They had been watching his competitions and were impressed by his skills. They invited him to join the team and represent the country at the upcoming Paralympic Games. The beggar boy was overjoyed. All his hard work and dedication had finally paid off. On the day of the Games, the beggar boy competed against athletes from all over the world. He gave it his all and pushed through the pain and exhaustion to win a gold medal for his country. When he stood on the podium and heard the national anthem being played, he couldn't hold back his tears. It was a moment of pure joy and accomplishment. The billionaire and his wife were among the crowd cheering him on. They were beaming with pride as they watched their son accept his award. In that moment, they realized that they weren't just a rich couple, they were a family, and they had never been closer than they were right then. From that day on, the beggar boy became a national hero, traveled all over the country, inspiring people with his story and encouraging them to pursue their dreams. He never forgot where he came from and the importance of helping others. And that is the story of the beggar boy who made fun of a billionaire. What can we learn from this story? This story teaches us that we should never underestimate someone based on their appearance or situation in life. The beggar boy was a kind and intelligent person, and he proved that he was smarter than the billionaire who had treated him poorly. It also shows us that we should always treat others with respect and empathy, because we may not know what they're going through or what they're capable of. Lastly, it reminds us that true wealth is not just about money and status, but about being happy and fulfilled in life. Alright folks, that's all for this video. We hope you enjoyed this story and the valuable lessons it has taught us. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. We would love to hear your thoughts and opinions, so make sure to leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.